Hey guys, Berserker Rage here. How you guys been? It's been a while. Been okay? It's good. Oh, I've been fine. Thanks for asking. Hey, before we get started, could I get you guys a snack or something? Yeah, there you go. Now, in honor of Space Month, I have picked out Phantasy Star Universe. I know, I'm sorry, but it's really the only thing I've got laying around right now, so let's just go ahead and pop this in. What? Hell, I'm not playing that. Shit. You know what? I'm gonna get myself something to eat first, and then we'll figure something out, okay? We'll figure it out. Here we go. Got a banana. You know, bananas are actually very healthy for you. They are a really good source of potassium. No. No, we're not doing this again! Scrabble already made this joke! I don't want to do this! I need to sit down. Okay, no! Guys, we're not doing this joke again. We're not doing this joke again. Okay? Look, we're gonna get a glass here. We're gonna get a drink. And we're gonna be just fine, guys, okay? We're gonna be alright.
Oh, other M. What can I really say about you that others haven't? Well, nothing really. Certainly nothing that could fill the gaping hole in my life that you left when you decided to be such a piece of shit. In fact, I really should go play Phantasy Star Universe.
Why couldn't I have just done Mass Effect 3 like everyone else?
Okay, well I'm here to learn you some Other M, so you're now authorized to activate your brains for learning.
Understood, Adam.
Other M starts you off with this cool remake of the ending of Super Metroid, and, hilariously, the first thing Samus says is what I felt while playing this game.
Why am I still alive?
And this is where we're introduced to Samus's stellar voice acting, and the phrase that sets the theme for our little jaunt into unbridled misery.
The baby. The baby.
It's also got the sparkliest death scene I've ever seen in a game. It's like, inappropriately shiny.
Walk away, you don't hear me say, please, oh baby, don't go.
Nah, that's not quite right.
Make it rain, I'ma make it rain, I'ma make it rain, I'ma make it rain.
There we go. Man, look at this. This is the part where she's supposed to go all badass and use the hyper beam, but she ain't even glowing rainbow colors. Pfft, way to drop the ball, guys. Now, before we can get into the actual game, we obviously need some fan service. I mean, why wouldn't we? This is a Team Ninja game, after all. The distinguished publishers of such classics as the Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball series. So after a little tutorial, we get to talk to some creepy nerd, and then hear Samus whine some more. Then... then we get treated to this little scene.
Codename Baby's Cry. A common SOS with the urgency of a baby crying. The nickname comes from the fact that the purpose of the signal is to draw attention.
Yeah, it's definitely not because the writers are trying to shove this baby theme down our throat or anything.
I altered the course of my ship as if this detour had already been part of my flight plan. Baby's Cry. It was as though it was crying specifically for me.
Wow. These people are worse at writing than I am at uploading content. Anyway, after that painful introduction, we get to see the setting of our little adventure, the bottle ship. Yeah, Yeah, guys, get it? The bottled ship, because we got this whole baby thing, and babies use bottles. So right off Samus's ship, we get to see the first thing about this game that pisses me off. These little first-person scan things. Now, more often than not, when you get pulled into these, the game has already drawn attention to something that isn't what you're supposed to scan, and the thing you are supposed to scan will end up being some tiny little inconspicuous thing with a hitbox so small that you'll end up passing right over it, and it won't react, so you just keep searching and never find it. During this scene, I actually had to pause and look up a guide. It was taking me so long to figure out what I was supposed to be doing here. Then I come to find out that it's that little green little spot of blood when they've been calling my attention to this body the whole freaking time. My god, thanks. Right, so after the scan thing, we get to meet the majority of the other characters. The only two people in this group you need to worry about are Anthony Higgs, the only cool character in this game, and Adam Malkovich, who is important for the fact that his character is completely butchered. But we'll get into that when we talk about the writing in more detail. Long story short, Adam's a dick.
That information is not for an outsider.
Samus is a baby about it.
The word he so obviously chose, outsider, pierced my heart.
She blows open a door so they can proceed. Anthony thinks explosions are hilarious. This guy doesn't. There's a boss fight, and then we're sent off to do Adam's bidding. Okay, so now you've seen most of the characters, you've seen the settings. I'm not gonna spoil everything under the sun right off the bat. You can go play yourself and suffer. Now let's talk about the rest of the game. I've already talked about the scan sequences and how awful they can be, so now we need to get right into the meat of this game and talk about the combat, the exploration aspects, and the writing. Strap yourselves in, kids. This is gonna be a long one. Let's get one thing straight before I say anything else. The combat in this game is not great. It's okay, but it's not great. Other M tries its best to home in on enemies for you, but it doesn't always work, so you have to make sure Samus is lined up with whatever you're trying to fight. Honestly, I'm not sure why they didn't find some way to incorporate a lock-on feature, because that really might have helped. Now, the normal combat doesn't hold the game back too much. You can get through most encounters by holding down the A button and boost dodging out of the way, and using the charge beam until the way is clear. Of course, that didn't save me from dying 1,000 times. The only things I can really say I liked about the combat are the special moves that Samus can use. Personally, I enjoyed seeing Samus as a more dynamic and brutal fighter. It's the one thing about her in this game that seemed to make any sort of sense. It's when you meet a boss or a mini-boss that the whole combat system starts to fall apart, since most bosses are tougher enemies that you have to hit with missiles. In older Metroid games, this was only ever a problem when you started running low on missiles, but in this game you have to flip the Wii remote toward the screen and lock on before you can fire them. Having to use missiles this way makes things way more difficult than they should be, since you can no longer see what's happening around you and you can't move, so you're left wide open. Now, I think you might be able to boost out of the way when you're doing this too, but I couldn't consistently do it. And not only are you left vulnerable, but half the time your reticule isn't going to line up where you want it to immediately, so you're left there kind of waggling the controller while Samus gets the shit kicked out of her. It doesn't help that to refill your missiles you have to stand completely still and hold the Wii remote up to reload, which also gets your ass handed to you half the time. Overall, it just doesn't work. It slows down the action and makes the game unnecessarily frustrating, all for the sake of a Metroid Prime throwback. In fact, why couldn't Nintendo have just gotten Retro to make a new Metroid Prime game? I have way less of a problem with the series getting dragged out for a little longer if it means we get a better game than this. The second point I want to hit on is the exploration in this game. In other Metroid games, you were encouraged to explore multiple paths and experiment with new powers to find the energy tanks and the missile upgrades and the power-ups, all the way until you found your way through. Other M kind of tosses this out the window and just leads you to where you need to go, with only a few side passages thrown in. Not only does this go against the standard Metroid setup, it's not even done well. Anytime you're blocked by something, it's usually an obstacle that's not made apparent to you. It's always this little inconspicuous part of a wall, or something like a tree built into the scenery, and 99% of the time you can't scan things to see if they can be blown up or interacted with. Things that you have to bomb are especially frustrating because, again, the hitbox that opens most things is so small that you can easily miss it and be completely left confused as to what to do. Now, okay. The third, and absolutely the most important part of this game is the writing. If nothing else, that is what kills this game and makes it so hard to play, especially as a longtime Metroid fan. You remember this guy, Adam Malkovich? Yeah, he's a huge part of what's wrong with this game. Adam was previously mentioned in Metroid Fusion as Samus's commanding officer when she was in the Federation military, and during her service, she and Adam developed a close relationship with each other, with Adam asking, "Any objections, lady?" at the end of mission briefings as a sign of respect for her. It's also stated that even after Samus left the military, she and Adam remained close friends. Other M contradicts this relationship and its impact on the characters completely. In Other M, Adam is seen to be contemptuous and mistrusting of Samus for leaving and is reluctant to ask for her help. When shown in a flashback, Adam's line is referred to as a joke, and with a negative attitude toward her already established, it seems to be more a way to single her out in a group full of male soldiers. Samus's response to this is to give a thumbs down pout, which, especially in a military setting, shows just how little respect she has as well. So now they've just thrown out all previously established canon and replaced it with this story where Adam and Samus have just always been pissy toward each other. Now, it's one big mistake to mess up a character as important as Adam, but you'd think they could avoid a complete catastrophe by not screwing up the main character. Well, as we have already seen, even Samus isn't immune to god-awful characterization. Now, why does Samus, badass bounty hunter and savior of the galaxy more than a few times over, allow Adam to disrespect her? Why, instead of defending herself, does she just passively take his insults and get her feelings hurt over it when it's been established that they're not even friends in this game? And not only that, but why does she allow herself to be taken under his command again when, again in Metroid Fusion, it's stated that she dislikes taking orders? Of course, I think the biggest question here is why does she allow Adam to have complete say-so over the use of her suit's abilities and weaponry when he's been nothing but a jerk to her and didn't even want her help in the first place? While I can see that this is supposed to be Team Ninja's answer to the constant issue of Samus losing all her powers, the execution makes it one of the worst problems this game has, since Adam seems to have no common sense when it comes to authorizing her abilities in the first place. The most glaring example I can think of this is in Sector 3, the Pyrosphere. Now, like in other Metroid games, areas with extreme heat do constant damage to Samus without the Various suit, but unlike in other games, Other M forces you to go through these areas to progress. And it isn't until the end of the area during the boss battle that Adam finally contacts Samus and tells her to activate the Varia function to block heat damage. Yes, that's right. This entire time, Samus has been running through this area filled with lava and would not stop to turn on the Varia suit because Adam didn't command her to stop burning to death. This is just wrong on so many levels! Why would Samus turn that function off in the first place when it also provides additional shielding? Why wouldn't Adam be like, "Hey Samus, there's a bunch of fucking lava all over the place. You should turn on the Varia suit so your fucking insides don't boil"? And after this, why would Samus still defer to his orders when it's obvious that his judgment sucks? The writer of this game, Yoshio Sakamoto, stated that he hadn't thought too much about what kind of person Samus was and how she felt or thought, so he and Team Ninja spent a lot of time trying to make her into an appealing human character, and they wanted to give her emotional depth. Yeah, because we all know that Team Ninja is the best at making characters with emotional depth. I don't see how taking a strong, quiet character and turning her into a submissive whiner with absolutely no common sense is adding emotional depth. The only emotion I'm even seeing here is some kind of bland sadness and a preoccupation with Adam. Oh, okay, sorry. I forgot the part where she has a goddamn breakdown when she sees Ridley and becomes completely helpless until Anthony comes to save her. Now, it makes perfect sense for her to be shocked. That's totally fine. If I saw someone that I'd killed 4 times already, once when I shot him up and left his corpse on an exploding planet, I'd be pretty shocked too. But it goes completely against what all other games have shown Samus to be for her to have such a fit that she almost loses control of her suit just because he shows up. She doesn't freak out when he shows up as a crazy massacre bot in Metroid Prime and then again in Metroid Prime 3. She doesn't freak out when he shows up again in Super Metroid, so why the hell is it happening now? So, following Sakamoto and Team Ninja's guidelines, if you're going to make a female character appealing and relatable and emotionally deep in a video game, step 1 is to make sure she's got really strong maternal instincts out of nowhere.
The baby.
Step 2. Make sure she's willing to happily defer to the shitty male commander who can regulate her actions and inhibit her potential despite the fact that he's been shown to be a complete ass and can't fucking figure out how to tell someone to turn the thing on that makes them not melt. Step 3. Have at least one scene where she's inexplicably rendered helpless and has to be rescued. Oh, don't forget to cover all that in a curvy figure in a skin-tight outfit. I'm not even going to get into my issues with Nintendo taking Samus out of her suit, because if I do, this video is going to be like a half hour longer. Metroid Other M takes everything that was great about Samus and the series as a whole and just throws it away, making this the most agonizingly frustrating game I have ever had to play. I would seriously rather play Ride to Hell for 10 hours again than touch this game. If you have to play a Metroid game, go play like any of the others. I mean, I played this so you don't have to. You're still young. Don't make the same mistakes I did!